Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Oyad Geoffrey. As you know, in the previous tutorial where we look at uh, the introduction of information literacy. So today in our tutorials, I want us to look at the the information sources. What are information sources? The type of information sources, the quality or the characteristic of good information sources. We are going to look at those into details. So let us not waste time. We kick away with our tutorials, and I beg you to pay attention as we move. So the first thing we are going to look at the definition of tutorials. The definition of information sources. So ladies and gentlemen, information sources simply mean a place or materials where information is obtained for learning and research. For example, we have the books, the libraries, the internet, the website, any place or material used to obtain information for learning and research. So those are the definition of information sources. So what are the types of information sources, ladies and gentlemen? The first type of information sources, we have the primary information sources, the secondary information sources, and the tertiary information sources. What does primary information sources mean? A primary information sources mean the first hand or original or something first hand. I mean, when I say first hand, they mean when someone sold, when I went to buy the car and I buy from a company, that they mean first hand. And when I sold it to someone, or when I sell it to someone, it became a second hand car. It means the first hand information. That is the meaning of primary information. We have the example, the report or research report, the experiment, the interview. There are many. Then we have the secondary information or the secondary sources. This one explain or analyze the primary information. We have the example, the books, we have the magazine, we have the newspaper. Many, there are many. You can mention them, and we have the tertiary information or information sources. This one summarize all the information sources. We have the dictionaries. There are many. So let us look them into details. So we have what we call the primary information sources, secondary information sources, then tertiary information sources, as I mentioned before, and there are many. So this one we have primary information sources, as I mentioned before, or as I said before. It is original, the first-hand information. Not like when I buy a car and I sell it, that is not now a first-hand car. It is now a second-hand car. The first I bought, it is now first. It is the one first-hand car. This simply explains what we mean primary source of information. Then the example, as I mentioned, interview, experiment, the research report, the diary. There are many. So let us look also at the secondary. Explain or analyze primary source of information. For example, we have the textbook, the journal articles, the newspaper or news report, then the biography. So, and the last type of primary source of information. We have the it is simply mean summarize the information. For those who can get me, summarize all type of information as I mentioned before. You have the example, you have the encyclopedias, the dictionaries, almanacs, then the fact book. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us look at the formats of information sources. We have the print, we have the electronic, and the audio visual. The print, this one mean something you photocopy a soft copy information into a hard copy information. For example, you have the books, the newspaper, the magazine, many. You can mention them. We have the electronic also. Here we have the electronics. The electronics, for example, we have the website, anything that concern internet. Those are electronic. Then we have the audio visual. This one would be like the video, audio, radio, the television. Those are things that concern the electronic gadgets. So let us look into detail those formats of information sources. We have the print sources. We have the books, as I said, newspaper, I mentioned before, the magazine. Then the electronic sources. We have the websites, the ebook, online journal, then the database. All these things I mentioned before. They are very simple. Just simple to understand. At the end of this video, you are going to understand that learning is very easy. Then we have the audio visual sources. We have the television, radio, video, the podcast, essays. I mentioned all these things before. If you are paying attention at the end of the tutorial, you will realize that you are much far ahead than you was before. So let us also look at the characteristic of good source information. You have the accuracy, should be accurate, not dupe, no error, no mistake, should be accurate. Then authority, no, authorized by the higher people like the government. Then the currency, the relevance, and objectivity. Those are the characteristics of good source of information. So let us also look at the importance of information sources, and this will make us know how information sources are important in our daily life. And with this, we are going to end our lecture here. So the first use or importance of information sources, we have the report resource or report research. They help you in report research. So the second one is improve knowledge, improve on your capability to understand things and do things with knowledge. And the third one is aid decision making, on how you will make your decision and provide evidence where necessary. So ladies and gentlemen, here make the ends of our tutorials. So I beg you to like, subscribe, and share my videos to more than 100 people so that we progress, both me and you, we progress in our learning. So I wish you success in your exam and more flowers. Have a good day.